everybody, it's Lynne Forsythe here with the Swirlydoos Education Design Team, and I am going to share with you today how I created the flowers for this month's technique tag, in which I also used on my canvas from this month's technique kit. So what you're going to need is, I used a lot of different distress stains. If you have spritzes or other things in order to color the paper, that will work just fine. I used Perfect Pearl mists in various kinds. The leaf image was stamped using embossing ink. And then I used ultra thick embossing enamel in order to emboss it. I then filled in the leaves with a mixture of water and the Perfect Pearls Forever Green. And so we're going to have fun. Now, before we start the adventure, I thought I'd give you a sneak peek of the cover of my canvas book that I'm going to create, or I have begun creating, with the March Technique Kit. And as you can see, here are the flowers I created using the craft paper, the Canvas Corp Kraft Paper, colored with the distress stains in the Perfect Pearls mist. So let's get this party started. So I created my tag using the Tim Holtz tag die, which I absolutely love. And you want to make sure that you put these little guys, have one of these little guys in here so that you can get the tag out when you have cut it. So what I wanted to do is, instead of you watching me emboss with the Yudi, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. Now Yudi, the reason that it has this name is because it's ultra thick. You really have to use this when you're embossing, when you have kind of thicker lines on your stamp, because if they're too thin, you're not going to be able to get enough embossing ink on your paper to hold the UD down. Now, one of the first things that I was taught when I took a class with Tim in regards to using the embossing powder is we have a tendency that when we pour the powder on there and we want to get it off, we want to flick the back of the tag or whatever the piece of paper is that we have. If you do that with UD, you will have no UD left on your tag. I suggest that you just gently kind of rumble your fingers along the back to get off any excess. You can even use a paintbrush to clean off some of the excess if you got a little heavy-handed with your stamping. But as you can see by my tag, I have extra little splecks on here, and it's okay. I like it. It adds character to my tag. So basically all I did was I inked up my stamp, stamped it, embossed it, turned it around, and embossed it. The stamp set that I used is called Around the Edge by Diane. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I'm not even going to try it, with her Delusions line, and that's how I got this image. So as you can see, I stamped on my tag, and I also stamped on the back side of a piece of the craft paper from Canvas Corp. So what we're going to do, and I'll just show you kind of a little quickly here, is we're just going to cut around the edges of this, and then we're also going to cut these out. So I'll be back when I'm done doing all that. So I have my tag cut out, and I have my two little leaf borders. I'm now going to use a little bit of the Forever Green Perfect Pearls. I'm going to tap on the cover to make sure that the Perfect Pearls is kind of all settled in there. Use my spatula here, and I'm just going to put a little bit, little dab will do ya, don't need a whole lot of this, onto my craft mat. And then I'm going to spritz a little bit of peeled paint, Distress Reinker mixture onto my mat. And mix the two together, and I'm just going to paint my leaves. And there you have it. Now, everything is all dry here, but for me, this white Udi is a little too stark white, so I want to kind of dumb it down a little bit, and so I am using Coffee Archival ink, and the reason being is this is an oil-based dye ink, but it will stick to the Udi, the melted Udi that is on here. So I'm just going to take this and kind of run it along over top, and while we're at it, we'll just go around the whole tag. Doing the same on our leaf border. Be careful that you don't tear it. And now I'm just going to use pop dots, and I'm going to pop dot the border onto my tag. So I have cut out various die cut shapes, flowers, tattered floral. This is a Sizzix die. This is from the mini tattered floral. And I have spiced marmalade and mustard seed distress stains along with bronze perfect pearl mist and sunflower sparkle. So basically all I do is give it a little squeeze and get some of the ink coming out and just cover the flower. We're going to do 2 flowers in the spiced marmalade. Front and back will be good. Now, if you don't like to get messy, you probably are going to want to shut this video off now because your hands are going to get very inky. But to me, this means I'm having a lot of fun and a really good day. Okay, so there are those 2. And then the middle flower, we're going to use a little bit of the mustard seed. And you know what? You'll notice that I'm not cleaning off my hands between using these because a little bit of run over from the other color is just fine with me. All right, so we have them saturated with color. And then I'm going to do one thing that scares everybody, and I'm just going to crumple them up into a ball. And this helps give the leaves, the petals of the flowers dimension. Okay, now we're going to open them up. Now, I love Perfect Pearls Mist because it says right on it, shake me up. And I'm one of those people that, you know, I just like to get it over with and get it done and get it mixed together. You'll be able to see that the Perfect Pearls is all mixed in. And then you're just going to give it a nice spritz and a spritz. And we'll do the sunflower sparkle on the mustard seed and a spritz. And then we will dry these and we'll have a beautiful flower to compile. Now that most of the puddles of the Perfect Pearls Mist are all dried up, I will then place these on top of each other like this, and then just kind of give them a pinch in the back so that it creates a nice little 3D flower. And then we'll set that aside to totally dry. Now, when I am working with the little roly flowers, as I call them, this is a Sizzix die. What I'll do is I will just color this with the stain, roll it all up, let it dry, and then spritz it with the Perfect Pearls Mist. And once again, we're just going to rub the ink over top. See how fast and beautiful that is? Okay. And I'll just take it and roll it. Okay, there I have it. Kind of let it go a little bit. I like to use Scott's Quick Dry Adhesive. Nice little. Squeeze out a little bit of white glue. Not too much, but enough. Set the little points of the rose on there. Give it a little mush. And let it set aside to dry. Then you'll place that in the center of the flower, and there you have it. A beautiful, beautiful flower to adorn your tag or to adorn the cover of your beautiful canvas in the March Technique Kit. Okay, for the second flower, once again, I used the spice marmalade, just ran it over, and we're just going to continue to do the exact same steps as we did before. And then I'm using fired brick on the smaller one. And for my roly flower, I'm going to use the mustard seed. Once again, we're just going to crumple our flowers right up. And we'll roll this flower. Okay, so then we're going to take our bronze and we're going to spritz this flower. And we're going to use a little bit of the Forever Red on the red flower this time. Okay, and as a point of note, with these little roly flowers, do not spray them with the Perfect Pearl Mist until the flower has dried, because you add more liquid to that and that glue's just going to let go, and so is the flower. So at a later point in time when this is drier, I will spritz that with the Sunflower Sparkle Perfect Pearls Mist. But until that point in time, we'll just kind of set that right there, and we've created flower number 2, which goes at the top of our tag, like that. Now I've cut off a piece of seam binding, and I don't like to waste a lot of this overage that's on my mat, so I'm just going to spritz my seam binding with the Sunflower Sparkle. And it's okay that it picks up a little bit and you get this kind of variegated looking ribbon. Then we'll dry that. Now that my seam binding is dry, I'm going to tie a really loose loopy ribbon. Nothing particular, and that's going to tuck up underneath my flower. Then I used a couple different miscellaneous fabrics that I had around the house, a little bit of twine, some burlap that I pulled the extra strands off of, and that's how I created this month's technique tag.